Hi everyone, my name is Jules Hare and I am a cranial sacral therapist specializing in pediatrics and families. And there has been, something that felt really important for me to reach out to everyone about. And that is the fact that kids, teenagers, adults as well, of course, are struggling a lot right now with this pandemic. More than anything though, parents are reaching out in large numbers because our kids are anxious. There are kids that are depressed, kids who are even super young, who are feeling such extreme anxiety that they just don't know what to do and parents don't know how to help them. And that's why I figured I would reach out and make this little video from my experience working with kids, writing a book on parenting, and just knowing that each and every body responds differently to all of our environment and what's happening around us. What I've been noticing a lot with kids is because kids are so sensitive to energy, and we do have to remember this, that as parents, every generation comes in more evolved than the one before it. So our kids are way more evolved than we are. They are even more sensitive than we are. They don't know how to articulate it. They often have not been given appropriate modeling because we don't know how to be as sensitive or be as emotionally intelligent as we could be. And so there isn't a lot of great modeling that they're getting from us because we're still learning it. Now, obviously this has been happening since the dawn of time, but these kids are so empathic. They're feeling everything. And at this time and space on Earth right now, there is so much intensity. The Earth is shifting dramatically. And a lot of our old intergenerational traumas that are stored within our genetics are coming to the forefront to be acknowledged and seen. And these kids can feel it and they can see it and they don't know what to do with it because, like I said, they haven't had appropriate modeling to know what to do with it. We don't know what to do with it as parents, and this is nobody's fault. But we can look at taking responsibility for it now and helping our kids grow and thrive. That's what this video is all about, is about giving you just one little tool that can change everything when it comes to helping your kids to navigate this world, and it's helping you as a parent as well. So it is important to remember that ideally we are at the center of our being. So let's imagine this is the heart, okay? Imagine that as a core that goes through your whole body. That is the center of who you are. Now, there's so much happening outside of us, so much extraneous information and knowledge and things that are catching our attention endlessly that we don't spend a lot of time at that center core. But it's at that center core, where that heart is, that is where everything is slower, clearer, and where when we put our attention there, we can truly concentrate that which is most potent in us and feel much more calm, more centered, more grounded. And I'm going to give you this little exercise to do with yourself and with your kids. It's best if you can do it together, maybe one-on-one if you have more than one kid, or all at the same time. It's a fun little exercise. And that is that we're going to delineate the difference between the center and the blue part and the purple and white part, okay? So when we go into a space, if we're super empathic like a lot of our kids are, then we go into a space and we can feel everything in that space. We can feel all the emotions of all the people in that space. We can feel what happened in that space during the last class or during yesterday. There is an energy that is prevalent in that space that if you are very sensitive to it, you can feel it, okay? We've all known this, gone into a big room full of people and gone, ooh, I don't want to be here, or oh my gosh, I love it here, this is amazing. So recognizing that we all have those subtle energetic feelers or perceptors that we often forget are there. And for kids, they are super loud because, like I said, they're very sensitive. They are more evolved in this, but they don't have the language for it. And this is why this is important. So what will happen often is we go into a room and instead of being able to be centered in our core, what happens is we've already gone to the point of leaking out to the edges And if you're a kid, taking up all of the space. So imagine, going even farther than that, that you have filled up your entire room that you've just entered with your space, which means that you have no idea what's yours, what energy and feelings and emotions are yours versus what belongs to the other people in that space. Now, you can understand how this is really important, because if you go into a space and you think that all of the anger that your dad is feeling, or all of the frustration or grief that your mom is feeling, if that's all yours and you're taking it in to your field, to that big bubble of energy around you, then you think it's yours. And you don't know what to do with it, because first of all, you don't even know where it came from. And second of all, you don't know how to bring yourself back to your center. So this exercise is one that my mom used to teach clients. I've taught many, many clients throughout the years, and that is being able to notice your core and then your electromagnetic field when it's at a safe distance away from you. Okay, that's the energy around your body. When it's at a safe distance, we don't normally let people that close within our space, like a foot. And then there are some times when we can make it really big and let it take up more space. And these are the moments where we want to be present and soak up that space. But it is our choice, and that's the most important part. So we can imagine, got this little character that my son lent me here, okay? This little guy is going to shed a little light on things for us, okay? So what you want to do is, if you have clothes hangers, okay, you want them to be metal. I know it can be hard to find metal. I searched my whole house for these ones. But if you can find metal clothes hangers, dowsing rods work well as well, but harder to find. And what you want to do is you want to be at a distance away from yourself, from your partner, from your child, and ideally when that child thinks about, or when that other person thinks about being in their center, it means that you can go much closer before those rods either come together, or another sign that you've hit the field is if they come apart, okay? So it's all about holding those clothes hangers there at the center and just letting them be able to float loosely in front of you, okay? I know it's hard for us not to control them, but just moving your whole body until you get to that point where you're holding across. Now, obviously, what I would normally do is be at this distance and then slowly come until, oh, there's the field there, okay? And so at that point, you get the child, or the person who you're testing there, to bring themselves in as tight as they possibly can so that all of their energy is contained within them. And you'll notice that everything gets really stopped at that point when you get close. Okay, so that's the idea, is that if you're in a room full of people and you want to maintain your own energy, your own space, you want to make that container smaller so that it's manageable for you. And that's when you can get really close, okay? So oftentimes with kids, I'll say, okay, I want you to imagine that you're just in yourself. And then at a certain point, when we're trying to expand to notice the end range of the field, we'll say, now I want you to imagine that you're walking into a room and you see Dad, and you're super excited to see Dad, and you can let all of your energy take up the whole space. And then that's when you'll get it going from being even to really big, right? Or really big. And although it sounds like a strange exercise, I have seen this exercise change people's realities, because you must remember that when we just think we are that energy, and that energy is extending and feeling, got these feelers out everywhere in your world, then you're just picking it up endlessly. And you can imagine the amount of energy that you're not wasting necessarily, but you're losing to having to take up all that space. And this is a way more efficient way of using your space wisely and recognizing that you can pull it in when you need to, and you can also extend it when you need to, but it is your choice. And when you don't realize that you're doing it, there's nothing you can do to change it. But now that you're aware of it, and now that you know that you can do something with it, then your experience can change dramatically. So please feel free to share this. This is something my daughter made, just as another example. Imagine the yellow is the core, and imagine that orange and red is getting further and further out. Okay, so if you have to imagine it like a gobstopper for us adults, anything that has a core, pulling yourself into the core and then taking yourself to the outside. Maybe every layer has a color and you can draw those colors and imagine being the color in the middle versus being the color on the outside and how that feels. Anything you can do to register all of those differences, because once you can notice the difference, you can engage with the differences. So feel free to play this out with your friends, with your family, whatever works best for you. This will be a huge game changer for a lot of kids who can then realize what's actually theirs versus what they're picking up on from everywhere else. And being able to manage that is extremely empowering. So please follow along at juleshareshares.com or Jules Hare Shares on Instagram and Facebook. And I'd be happy to have a session with you. I do transformational parenting sessions as well as long distance embodiment facilitation. And I'm happy to help however I can. Honored to serve, especially those leaders of the next generation, our kids, and the leaders within us that still need help being raised as well, that our kids help us with. Thanks, guys, for putting this energy and attention in, and looking forward to connecting again soon.